Have you ever wondered what would happen if all humans isolated for 2 weeks? Picture this: 7.8 billion people all around the globe, each cocooned in their own space, separated from the rest of the world. Our daily interactions, the source of joy, frustration, and everything in between, suddenly grind to a halt. But this isn't just a massive global game of hide and seek. No, we're talking about a potential revolution in the realm of disease transmission. Diseases like the common cold, influenza, and many others that we've come to accept as part of life rely heavily on human contact to spread. They're hitching a ride on our social nature, hopping from person to person, causing bouts of sneezing, fevers, and general misery. But what if we stopped playing host to these unwelcome guests? If we hit pause on human interaction, would these diseases also take a break? Imagine for a second a world where every single person decides to stay away from others for 2 weeks. What would happen to the diseases we know? Before we dive into this hypothetical scenario, let's understand the current situation of diseases in our world. The common cold, flu, and other infectious diseases are pretty much a part of our lives. They're prevalent across the globe, and their presence is felt more in densely populated areas. They spread through microscopic droplets when someone with the disease coughs or sneezes or even talks. A handshake, a shared meal, or a crowded subway. These everyday interactions are the highways for these tiny invaders. Furthermore, these diseases are not just a nuisance. They can be deadly. The flu, for instance, is estimated to cause between 290,000 to 650,000 respiratory deaths annually worldwide. In a nutshell, our world is a bustling hub of microbial activity, and we, as social beings, are the crux of this activity, often unknowingly passing on these invisible passengers to one another. In the world we live in, diseases spread rapidly, largely because of our interconnectedness. Now let's delve into our isolation scenario. What would happen to these diseases if we all isolated for 2 weeks? In this hypothetical situation, the transmission of many diseases would likely decrease. By removing the opportunity for person-to-person contact, we essentially cut off the major transmission route for many common infections, such as the flu or the common cold. With no new hosts to infect, these diseases may temporarily disappear. However, it's crucial to remember that not all diseases would be affected in the same way. Some diseases, particularly those that can survive outside a host for extended periods, might just be lying in wait, ready to resurface once the isolation period ends. For instance, bacteria and viruses on non-living surfaces might still be infectious, and as soon as we're out and about again, they could potentially find new hosts to infect. Furthermore, some diseases are not transmitted through direct human contact. Diseases carried by insects, for example, aren't going to disappear just because we're all staying indoors. And let's not forget about those that can be transmitted through contaminated food or water. In essence, a short-term isolation period could decrease the spread of some diseases, but it wouldn't eradicate them completely. This highlights the importance of not just isolation, but also sanitation, vaccination, and overall health maintenance in our fight against infectious diseases. So, we've isolated and some diseases have decreased. What happens next? As we emerge from our cocoons of isolation, blinking in the sunlight, we might find that our world of disease has changed. But not necessarily in the way we might expect. Yes, the isolation period has indeed caused a decrease in the transmission of certain diseases, but what about our immune systems? Our bodies are designed to fight off infections and diseases. This is a skill that needs practice, and that practice comes from exposure to germs and viruses. If we've been isolated, our immune systems haven't been getting that exposure, that practice. This could potentially result in a weakened immune response, leaving us more susceptible to diseases when we re-enter society. But the effects of isolation are not just physical. There's a psychological component to consider as well. Extended periods of isolation could lead to feelings of loneliness, anxiety, and depression. These mental health conditions can have a profound impact on our overall health and well-being, and can also affect our immune response. So, while it may seem like a good idea to isolate in an attempt to eradicate diseases, it's important to consider the broader implications. We need to balance the potential benefits with the potential risks, and that's a complex equation. In conclusion, while isolation could potentially decrease disease transmission in the short term, the long-term effects might not be as beneficial as one might think.